What happened on Friday for the British Grand Prix? Tommy, you are real, this is amazing, and we're here to talk to you about what happened today at Silverstone. Let's talk about what happened in practice. Not a huge amount. Now, of course, we are at races. We're at this race, and the one thing I always find as a fan, without a shadow of a doubt, is I don't know really what happened. So, of course, we've caught up. We've got things to talk about, as always. But it's so I don't know what makes it so difficult to actually keep up with. And I feel like it's a consistent thing throughout most races, is that you don't feel like you get the whole story.
I mean, to be fair to like F1 as a sport, it's a really difficult thing because you go to a football game, you watch everything. You see the whole pitch, you see everything, so you're not going to miss anything. But Formula One, you only, you might see one part of the track, or even if you get, an amazing view and you've got a stand, it's quite far away. It is hard to absorb what's going on. I think it may be even more difficult in a practice session where practice is all about information and what's going on, who's on what tyre. Practice, when you're actually there, is more about like seeing the cars for a very long time, for a lot of hours, a lot of people on track, and just enjoying it.
Either or. Let's dive into now what happened in free practice today, and we have to start, and I didn't think we were going to start with this team, Williams.
The GOATs.
What on earth? Albon P3 in FP1, P3 again in FP2. Now, free practice 1, you look at it and go, whatever, they could be running different run plans, all kinds of different stuff. A lot of teams have brought upgrades this weekend as well, which they can start to get their head around what that upgrade can do for the car as the weekend progresses. However, Williams, Logan Sargent as well, P5 in FP2.
These upgrades, he now has the upgrades, and in FP2, he was right up there. Albon, we've seen, Williams have had their moments, haven't they, where they've had an amazing performance. I didn't expect it here though.
Neither did Albon, because we were at the Williams pop-up store in Regent Street a few days ago, and Albon was there, and he was interviewed, and he was saying, Austria was amazing and really suited the car. It was a bit of a disappointment not to score points, and he kind of was suggesting that Silverstone should be all right, but not like...
It doesn't seem like a Williams track though, because
it's
all about downforce, high-speed
corners.
corners. Williams are like big long straights, keep everyone behind them, and then a big long straight.
It is a fast track. Yeah, it is a power circuit, but there are obviously maggots and Beckett's and corners that really do challenge the car's downforce, which is not really what Williams is known for, but apparently they're the GOATs.
They are amazing.
They are unreal. At Matt01, is this pace genuine from Williams or home track glory running? Again, I think in FP1 you could say, all right, they've stripped out the fuel, gone for it. But in FP2 to do it as well, when other teams are obviously on push laps as well. Now, they're not turning it up to 100. They're not going to maximum power, as we know, because it's free practice and they've got limited parts. But it wouldn't make any sense for Williams to glory run. What is okay, we'll talk about them now, but there is no long-term benefit for them to just bluff being good and then being just terrible and washed in Q1 when we get to Saturday. Yeah,
because then it just looks embarrassing, like the upgrades haven't worked. So it's a weird one. I mean, Williams, they're at their home circuit, but a glory run, I don't see them glory running. It's a really difficult day to absorb as well because it is so warm. And tomorrow, we might get rain. It could be completely different. So tomorrow, throws it down. This whole day is irrelevant, really, other than the dry. We might have dry running, but even then, Sunday, it's now predicting that it might be a bit of rain in the air as well.
Another question at James BWFC22. By what margin will Albon qualify on pole? Now, I don't think they're going to get pole. I think their long run pace didn't look anything particularly special, sort of in the midfield sort of area. So it's not as if we're coming out of FP2 and both long and short run pace looked like they could challenge Red Bull. That's not what we're looking at here. However, I think there could be a Q3 chance there for Albon by the looks of what these first two sessions have suggested. I don't think he's going to get any higher than 9th or 10th in quali, really.
We're trying to absorb the kind of classification as well, and it is Red Bull obviously look mighty, but some people have been up there in the session. You look at someone like Haas, Nico Hülkenberg is 20th in FP1, and then he's 7th in FP2. So it is really hard to work out where they're going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, Verstappen clearly has a bit more pace in that car. I don't think Ferrari is now 22 thousandths off them when it comes to one lap pace as well. It's interesting because there were both FP1 and FP2, the bits that we did see, it was Verstappen going fastest by a second almost immediately, and then everyone catching up as the session sort of unfolded, which made me think there's plenty more in the tank for Max if he does it so early. Now, next question, or topic, let's say, is Ferrari pain. At Juan Pablo SF1, did Matt? You can tap me. You can actually physically give me some emotional support. Thank you. Juan Pablo SF1, did Matt die from a heat stroke or Leclerc not going out for FP2? Bit of both, really. Yeah, no. The sun's been hitting me hard, but also Charles Leclerc literally not going out in free practice 2 with an electrical issue. It's look, Ferrari are giving me that full fan experience of both at home and at the track. Just genuine pain. There were so many as well, people that we spoke to today that were Ferrari, Charles Leclerc fans, and were speaking about how they could feel. We suffered together. And we certainly did in free practice 2 because didn't get one lap in, not one.
I just thought of something quite funny, is that we were obviously doing our Twitch stream around this time, so maybe Ferrari thought, oh man, something on Twitch, we needed a Charles Leclerc breakdown.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
To boost the viewership. But no, joking aside, trying to put a positive spin on a obviously annoying situation that they've had no running at all with Charles Leclerc's car. Sainz looks quick, so the Ferrari is looking good. And
especially as well with the fact that Charles Leclerc, let's say, hasn't had the strongest of weekends in terms of pace over his teammate. Like Austria was good, got a P2, but he's not had that margin over Sainz that we've been sort of accustomed to. And to have no running in FP2, we then go into tomorrow, which could be completely different. Just feel like he's on the back foot again a little bit.
I guess one positive is that it's happened now and not in the race. So hopefully
it might also happen.
Hopefully it is fixed for the race.
So before we move on, something I need to mention, which, I mean, it must be coincidence, surely. But Mattia Binotto stepping foot in the paddock and Charles Leclerc having electrical issues. That's
you can make it up.
Oh, absolutely. Next question is from GB212GB. Where can Mercedes actually end up this weekend? Good question, because they finished 11th and 14th in FP1. And then if you scroll down, Tommy, thank you very much, because we had to scroll all the way down to P12 and 15th for FP2. And their pace just seems pretty non-existent. Although I will say that Mercedes never truly tend to go particularly fast in free practice. There are the odd occasion.
FP1, weirdly, they do actually do. They sometimes. Sometimes they do really well in FP1, and then they don't have a good weekend. So maybe this is the reverse tactic or something. I don't know.
There's something about Silverstone and Mercedes that I just can never write them off. Especially Hamilton, and you yourself said in the predictions as well. There's something about Hamilton at Silverstone that he can really pull a result out of nothing. But that being said, it's not been a good day at all for Mercedes. I still think they're going to be in the fight with Aston Martin. It feels as though Ferrari have taken a small step forward. Obviously off the back of Austria, where they were the second fastest team. We then come into Silverstone. They still look good in the hands of Carlos.
Yeah, Mercedes have a new front wing. Hamilton wasn't exactly bigging it up like he was going to be Verstappen, but yeah, I could see them now, from what they've had maybe around the Aston Martins, but we'll see tomorrow because rain could mix it up completely.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about McLaren now. New livery, on track. I was underwhelmed when I saw it unveiled, leaked through some very dodgy pictures. But actually seeing it in person, as much as I would want more chrome, the chrome is shiny, and I like that.
It is nice to see because we've said this a few times that modern Formula One cars, it's all about saving weight and stuff, and that's why actually I'm sure your opinion is the same, that you want more chrome, but they can't do it because they need to save weight, so there's a lot of black on there as well. But the chrome bits do look really nice, and when it's shining in the sun, it looks really cool, and it's very different.
At Duck Ivara, why does McLaren give us hope one weekend only to crush it the next?
Savage.
Are we now going to say it's because of the livery? They've gone for the shiny chrome, which is obviously heavier, and they are now slow. But look, if you actually look at the results, I think you had Piastri up in 9th in free practice 2. You had Lando up there in P8 and FP1. I don't think it's the end of the world for McLaren right now. Like, I think we need to wait at least to FP3 to start making some serious judgments. But then that being said, it could be completely different conditions and none of this will actually matter. But then someday, perhaps, there's more of a chance of it being dry then than it is on Saturday. So I think we've got plenty more action yet to come.
We have. It's really annoying to answer the same thing that we've done for what about Mercedes? What about Williams? What about Ferrari? But
Williams,
it's only
Williams
practice, I guess.
It's only practice unless it's Williams, and then you're doing very good.
And then Williams are going to win and Leclerc world champion, basically, yeah.
That pretty much wraps up this free practice session. I think the only other thing, Nick de Vries.
Oh, yes.
Managing to somehow spin into the gravel at Luffield, which, is very difficult, isn't it? But I don't think I've ever seen anyone spin from
not in a dry, normal session. It's very rare, but that man just needs to stay on the track, have a normal weekend. I mean, he was fine, like, in the actual session, wasn't he reasonably high?
19th in FP2, Tommy.
Sorry.
And 11th in FP1.
So not amazing, but he just needs to have a weekend of no errors, be on Yuki's pace. And
to be fair, he was on Yuki's pace in FP2. They were 18th and 19th. So
and AlphaTauri meant to have upgrades, and that car's not looking great.
That pretty much wraps up today. We've got a very exciting day to talk to you about tomorrow, where we're spending it all day with Tommy Hilfiger. Actually, I didn't even say that I had a lap.
Yes,
I had a hot lap. I had a hot lap. I think it was 11:30 this morning, and went out in a Mercedes. Obviously, Tommy Hilfiger hooked us up with this opportunity, and we're going to get hopefully the content at some point to be able to share with you. But I was so unlucky. I mean, that sounds so weird to say.
Smallest violin playing.
I was car 14, lap 3, right? So you get one lap, and then person gets out, next person gets in. Lap 1 and 2 of car 14, Toto Wolff was driving. And I saw him and I was like, Toto, come on. But he had to go because he has other things to do than drive fast cars around Silverstone.
He was like,
absolutely not,
sorry.
he's washed. But no, it was still unbelievable, the drifting. It was such a cool experience. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening. Sorry about the slightly on-the-go setup that we've currently got.
The news report.
You want the content. It's either content like now, or you're probably getting a roundup after qualifying's already happened, and you won't want to watch that. So thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you very soon for another piece of content.
Bye.